Lovely. So come to your comfortable seated position and we'll just settle into our yoga space before we begin moving around a little bit more. So we'll start with an upright spine, closing the eyes or just keeping the gaze steady and low. Just let your awareness move from outward facing and just let it spiral inward. So you just drawing it in to you. So let's pay attention to the head, the face, the neck and the shoulders, your arms and your hands. And let's pay attention to the head sitting over the rib cage, over your pelvis. So see if you can get those three things aligned: head, rib cage and pelvis. And take any little movements that you need to make that happen. And just notice how you feel as well in your legs and your feet. So the whole of the body now has had a little bit of attention. And we'll just move even more internally by focusing on our breath. So just noticing the inhale and the exhale. So I'd like you just to turn your palms up for a moment. Wherever you've rested them in your lap, just turn your palms up and just keep with that rhythm of the breath. And as it was a new moon, I think it was on Tuesday, we're just going to honour that with our moon salutations in our practice this morning. And we're also going to just ask ourselves, what do I need more of? And so with those hands open, perhaps you can just be open to receiving anything that you might need more of, or perhaps you can put in a little intention there. Just take a breath or two here. And then we're going to turn the palms down. Keep the hands kind of on, if that makes sense. So keep your hands active. And then just imagine or ask yourself, what do I need less of? So something you want to perhaps prevent coming or reduce or let go of. Just take a couple of breaths. And then we're going to bring hands to our Padma Mudra. We looked at this on Tuesday, so thumbs resting to the heart, touching each other, little fingers touching each other, and the other fingers just fanning out. So we're making a little mudra flower, a little Padma Mudra, a lotus flower. And with that connection to the heart, I just want you to drop your chin. Let's stretch into the back of our neck. This is where we are just going to contemplate the best use of our energy, our time, our energy. And let's focus on that little seed of intention. So what do I want to create? Good, let's start moving. Let's take a breath in, lift the lotus flower up, looking up, and on the out breath, reach the arms out and wide and plug your fingertips into the earth beside you, arms strong and long, sitting tall. Turn your palms up as you sweep in on the breath in, fingers and thumbs touching into your lotus flower, and draw that lotus flower back down to your heart and drop your chin. Let's do that one last time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, open, fingertips to the earth. Turn the palms up on the breath in and exhale them down to the heart. You can drop your chin. And then just come all the way up to sitting. And we're going to clasp the hands and push the palms away, lift up, palms up to the ceiling, and then releasing that as we lean into the right hand, coming into a side stretch. Nice, we're going to turn our side stretch into a twist so the hand drops across the body. Sit tall and then twist to your right. Good, coming back to forward, clasping those hands, palms away, lifting up. And on the out breath, left hand comes down, right arm reaches over, side stretch. And we're going to turn it into a twist by bringing this arm across the body. Sit tall. and look behind you. And then we come all the way back to forward facing last, lift up with those hands and drop them back down. Nice, we're coming onto our backs. We're just going to spend a little moment here loosening up the spine and the hips and the shoulders. So we're going to draw those knees into the body and just circle them round a couple of times in one direction, massaging the lower back. And then just take them the other way. A couple of circles the other way. Good. Pause when you next hug them in. We're going to hold the right leg, stretch the left leg up to the sky, push the heel to the ceiling, and then lower it slowly with control. So that leg is strong and it's going to find the earth. Nice. And we're stretching into this right hip now. So just let that knee kind of, just gently guide that knee. Give it a little rock. And then we're going to take that knee across the body into our twist. Reaching out to the other opposite side with our hand. Take a breath and use that breath to soften. Coming back to your back, hugging both knees in. This time the circles are going to be apart so the knees move away from each other. Just take them around a couple of times. Moving into that hip one way and then the other. Ah, lovely. Let's hold as we bring them, draw them in. Grab that left knee, right leg to the sky. Push that heel up so you can feel the muscles in the back of that leg and the front of your leg. We're going to lower that heel all the way down with control. Squeezing this right hip, this right knee. Just give it a little guide, a little rock. And then we're going to take this knee across the body and outstretch the opposite way into your twist. Nice, coming back onto your back. We're going to hug both knees in. This time we're going to put the fingers underneath, so behind those knees, and see if you can find a little bit of momentum. Just rock along your spine, curl it in. And we are coming all the way up, and we're going to come to kneeling. So come to the back of your mat so that you've got room for your hands. And you're just going to let your hands stretch out in front of you, so you're bringing your head down. So everyone's different. It might not be comfy to keep the knees together. Some people prefer a bit of space. I'm going to let you choose. We're just going to extend those arms out in front. We're going to turn the palms up. So this invitation again, what do I want more of? Take a couple of breaths as you stretch along your arms and your spine. Open up those hands to receive. Then we're going to switch those hands to palms down. And we're going to think about perhaps what we want to reduce, what do we want to not invite, what do we want less of. Nice. Slide your hands back as you come up to a seated kneeling position. Find your little Padma mudra, so fingers, little fingers and thumbs touching, other fingers outstretched. Gaze down into your lotus flower. And we're thinking about what we'd like to create and thinking about our use of energy. Where's our energy best spent? Set that little intention and let's lift it up as though that flower's growing up towards the sun. You can come all the way up onto your high kneeling position too if you wish. Reaching up. And then we're just going to let these hands reach out and come down by our sides. Going to bring our hands down onto the floor. So you're on a tabletop. And then you're just going to tuck your toes and you're going to press into the earth so your hands and your toes push down as your hips lift. You're in a down dog. So remember, down dog might not have straight legs. It might be that the knees need to be bent here. I just want you to feel into that. Feel the length through your spine. Take a breath. And we're going to come up to our back of our mat. So the hands are going to come back. Walk towards your feet so that you'll be at the very back of your mat. Head down, hips high, forward fold, shrug it off. And before we come up, we just turn those tummy muscles on nice and strong through our legs so that we can rise up safely. Lift those arms out, take them up, and exhale them back down by your side. Okay, so we're going to turn to the side of our mat. So we have a nice long mat out there. Feet parallel to each other. So having a look down at those feet, arms down by your side. So this is mountain pose, Tadasana. So we're going to do the moon salutations. So as you probably know, I do the sun salutations quite regularly. They're quite a heat-inducing flow. The moon is much more, it is a lovely flow, but it's much more keeping those energy levels sort of in balance, so it's more calming. Okay, let's do this together. Let's clasp those hands, palms away, just like we did from seated. On your breath in, lift those arms straight up. Good. Exhale, lean over to your left. And inhale back up to upright. Think of this as the little crescent moon. And exhale to your right. And inhale back to upright. Good. And then we're going to reach that right leg out to the side. So we're in a wide stance. We're going to bend into those knees. So turn your toes out slightly and drop your hands. So your elbows come into line with your shoulders. So this is goddess pose. So the spine is upright. We're just opening out those shoulders and those hips. So take a breath here in your goddess pose. Nice. We're going to straighten those legs. We're going to turn the left toes in so they're parallel. And we're going to turn the right toes out. Reaching the arms out. We're coming into Trikonasana triangle pose. So this pose is a side bend. So this right hand comes down. And the left arm reaches up. So it might look like this to be a side bend. Depends how stretchy your hips and legs are. The full pose, the hand might come a little further down. But I want you to ensure you're in a side bend and you're not leaning forwards in your torso. Find what works for you. Maybe you're going to look up if you feel steady. Keep your gaze low if not. And we're going to turn this into pyramid pose. So we're going to just switch to face the front of our mat. So your back foot's just going to swivel round. You might step it in a touch. And just check that your hips are neutral now, so they're forward facing. I'll just give you a little bit of time to get your balance. And then we're just going to fold forwards. So we're going to take a little breath in as we lift up through the head and the heart. So make space along the torso. And then exhale, folding back down over that front knee. It can be a little bit bent if that's too strong on those muscles. Good. Now we're going to drop the back knee down onto the floor. This is the moon getting a little bit fuller now. So just make sure the knee's over the ankle there at the front. And this back knee is as far back as feels comfortable for your left hip flexor. Make sure you're steady and then rise up. So this is the moon, sort of the fuller moon now. Nice, so reaching up. Good. We're going to bring the hands back down. Bit of a tricky bit now. You're going to come to face the long edge of your mat. So keeping this right knee bent, you're going to wiggle round and you're going to straighten out the left leg and have your toes come up. So you're in a little one stretched legged crouch. I hope that's making sense for you. So just feel into that for a moment. And we're going to just spider walk across. So just coming up, bending into that left leg and stretching out the right leg instead. So now we're at the other end of our mat. And we're just going to do all of those again, but in reverse. So we're going to come back to this side of our mat. So that left leg is in front. Walk your right foot in as much as it needs to come back into your pyramid pose. So we're going to take that little breath in as we lengthen. And a little breath out as we bow. Remember, this front knee can be bent if that's too strong for you. And we're going to change our pyramid back to triangle. So just arranging those heels so they're in alignment. And then rising up into our triangle pose. So outstretch those arms, left arm down, right arm reaching up. Just remember, only go as far as feels comfortable, so your Trikonasana might be higher. Yeah, it's a side stretch, a side bend. Breathing into your Trikonasana. Nice, guys. We're going to bend into that knee. We're rising up. We're coming back into our goddess. So those feet come wide, toes turn out, knees bend, sink into that beautiful goddess stretch, nice and open across the chest and in the hips. Breathe deeply, head over heart, over hips. Good. And then we straighten up those legs and we step back up to the other edge of our mat. So we end up the other end. We're going to clasp those hands, palms lift up. We look up. Good. And we're going to take a bend to the right. A little crescent moon. Inhale, lift. And exhale to the other side. And inhale, come up. On the out breath, drop those arms down by your side. And that is a moon salutation. So we're going to do it all through it again. Hopefully it's a little bit more, hopefully it'll be a bit easier now, it's a little bit familiar. But we're going to step out and then come back. So we're going to basically do the same but the other way around. Okay, so here we start. Clasp those hands, palms away. Inhale, lift. Exhale, side bend right. And inhale, come back to center. On your out breath, take your side bend to your left. Come up on that inhale, back to center. Good, and on your exhale, drop those arms, step out into your goddess. And nice and wide, toes slightly turned out, sinking down, knees back, elbows back, shoulders back. Breathe here. Good, we're coming into triangle pose, so we're going to straighten those legs. Turn the right toes in, and then the left toes turn out. Reach your arms out. And left hand goes down, right arm is reaching up. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Lengthen from crown of head to hip and lengthening through both those legs. Remember, a tiny bend in that front knee is perfectly fine if it's too strong. Good, turning into pyramid. So we're going to bring our forward energy here, so to the top of our mat, swiveling onto that back foot. You might want to make a tiny little adjustment. So left foot in front, right foot in the back, hips squared off. Slowly lower down. So we're just going to let's take a lovely breath in as we lift the head and the heart, lengthening through our spine as if we're about to start a race. But then on the out breath, we bow down. And breathe. Nice. We're bending into this left knee as we come to the long edge of our mat, stretching out our right leg. So it's a little squat here with that right leg straight, left leg bent. Your hands are on the earth. So it's a really nice stretch along this right leg. Ooh, hip opener. Good. Let's spidey across the mat. So coming up and then across. So we're bending into this right leg. And your left leg is straight. A little crouch. Good. So now we're up this end of the mat. So we're going to turn so that the right foot is in front. We're going to be in our pyramid pose. So take your time to adjust your feet. Right foot forward, left foot back. Take your breath in to lengthen through your torso. And your breath out to drop down into pyramid. Hips are squared off. Good, we're rising to Trikonasana. So just arrange this back foot so that the heel is in alignment with your right heel. And then you rise up into your Trikonasana. Right hand down, left arm up. Take a breath. Beautiful. You know what's coming next? Goddess pose. So bending into that knee as you rise up. Open yourself out into goddess. Bending into those knees. Bending into those elbows. Good. Let's straighten the legs, step up to the top of the mat as we clasp those hands, palms away, lift up on the breath in, side stretch on the breath out. Inhale to come back up to straight, exhale to the other side. Inhale straight up, and on your out breath just drop your hands down by your sides and shrug those shoulders, shake out those legs. Really nice, just 2 rounds of moon salutation, so hopefully feeling calmly energized, yeah, the right use of energy. So we're going to take this down onto the floor. So just make sure you've got space behind you. So you're at the top of your mat now, all the room is behind you, arms down by your side. We're going to take a breath in as we lift the arms all the way up, palms are touching. On the out breath, draw your hands down to your heart, and I want you to find your little lotus flower here. So thumbs to chest, little fingers touching, other fingers out wide. Just going to have a little look down. Stretching those neck muscles, but also an opportunity to remind ourselves about what we want to create in our lives going forwards. Good. So we're going to turn our little lotus flower down. So the little roots are going down into the earth and come into a forward fold. Knees can be bent. So your little flower comes down to the floor, and just release that mudra, shrug out the shoulders. And just take a nice fluid forward fold here. Bend those knees, and we're going to step back the feet just briefly through a little dog. Stretch it out in your dog. Bring your knees to the floor. Sit back, arms outstretched. Let's start with palms open. That invitation, what we need more of. And then the palms down. We're closing the door to what we need less of. And then just sit. And we're going to make our way to Shavasana. So coming onto our backs. Get nice and comfy. So if you need a last little wiggle, please take one. So sometimes it's nice just to rock and roll a little bit around your mat, or maybe into a little supine twist. I'll just let you feel into that for a moment. But eventually what we're going to be looking for is 5 minutes rest, 5 minutes in Shavasana. So choosing whatever position suits you best for that to happen. So over the next few moments, those wiggles and adjustments and stretches, they just disappear, and we are left with this hopefully beautifully arranged body, ready for rest. And just in case it needs a little bit of encouragement, we'll use the breath. So take a breath in. Hold the breath so you can perhaps feel that pause, that moment, and then let it all go. Let it go in that moment of exhale. Repeat that, breathing in. Hold the breath. And then you can do that a couple more times if that helps you. But then eventually we just allow the breath to fall into its natural rhythm. And the breath becomes that little background metronome, that little background rhythm now. So whilst we have our last few moments here in rest, just scanning through your whole body, checking in, giving love and gratitude for your amazing body and all that it's able to do, giving yourself full permission to rest, knowing that that energy is there when you need it. the rest of your day. And in your mind's eye, if you can, let's see if we can picture a dark evening. So when it's new moon, it's when there is barely any moonlight at all. So this is the opportunity for the fresh start, the new beginning, the new seeds to be sown, ready for the new cycle. So maybe you could imagine this sort of inky blue night sky, just the tiniest of moonlight, the tiniest of starlight. It encourages us to rest, it encourages us to turn inward, to be reflective. Not all ideas have to be jumped into, you know, we need these moments, don't we? The heat, the daylight, the full moon, all of that will come, but for now we're in that sowing of the seeds stage. So enjoy. Maybe just like if we had planted a seed, we would tend to that seed, we would offer it water. So think about what it is that you might need more of to enable your ideas, your intentions to grow. Maybe it's just the word that pops into your head. Maybe there's several words, several things that you need. And if there's anything that's limiting your chances of this growth, this new idea, this new phase, whatever it might be, let's see if you can just imagine that you've just put a little bubble of protection around your seed so that that thing can't penetrate. And again, it might come up as a word or a few words, things that you need to say no to or just have less of. Just like the seed, beginning to push through the soil, it starts to grow, it starts to show the first little signs of life, just like perhaps your ideas, your intentions. Just think about the right use of your energy, your right use of your time, if you want this to be a success. So conserving energy when necessary, and giving it a bit of oomph when that's necessary. For the last couple of moments here in rest, just visualize your creation in its full glory. Allow yourself that moment to bask in it, to smile as though it's already here. And then, if you need to move with me, take a couple of deep breaths. You might even use that sighing breath again, breathing in and holding the breath, and then letting it out in a sigh. Feeling into your fingers and your toes, your arms and your legs as you reach out towards the world. Take a beautiful full body stretch. And a hugging in of those knees and just coming up to seated in your own way, in your own time. Fingers to the earth. On the breath in, we lift the palms up and let them touch above the head and just draw them down to your heart one last time. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a good rest of the week and I'll see you next week.